Today we're going to make this really cool pixel ghosting kind of effect that I firstly saw in a video by Redman Productions, aka district.jp. I had a lot of you guys comment and asking me how to make this effect, so here we are. However, sad news, you guys are going to have to spend some money today. Because this is done with a plugin called Glitchify, which will set you back $35. So cancel your gym subscription and don't eat this week so that you can afford to make some sick visual effects. But before we even get started, it's time for school. Because if you guys don't know how to use this plugin, your brain will also fry. But don't worry, it's okay. Because as your patron de edición, I have come forth with some knowledge. So when we add it in, it's all a bit crazy. And if you press play, it looks a little bit insane. So you can see there are actually 5 different glitches here, but if we just focus on the channel, color, and image glitch, we can open these up and you see they all have enable parameters. And if we just disable the color glitch and the image glitch so that we're left with the channel glitch, we can see that we're left with a very kind of small pixel looking effect. And this is the effect that we're going to use. So let's close these ones because it can get very complicated if we open everything. So under channel glitch, there's 2 parameters, the channel split and channel scale. If we just open the channel split, you can see that what it's saying is that for the saturation channel, we want to displace a horizontal amount of 50. And if I increase this, you can see the saturation aspects of the image get moved from side to side. We can also do that to the vertical amount, and you can select different channels like hue, value, but that's not even the fun part. So let's make both of these 0. Close this and open up the channel scale. Now channel scale does something completely different. You can see that if I make the scale 0, nothing happens. If I start to increase the scale, you see something really cool happens. It almost like makes it like a 3D twist of the Luma channel, which Luma just means light values. If we change it to saturation, we work with the saturation values. You can see that now it's the color of purple and blue that is being changed. Class dismissed because my brain hurts. So let's firstly make this effect here with the headlight, and this is an easy 3-step process. The first step being to actually rotoscope out the headlight. So I did this with Mocha Pro, but you can use the rotoscope tool, you can use a regular mask. Just make sure that you mask it out for the frames that you want to do the effect for, and then you add some feathering. And you want to have 2 layers, the original background and the rotoscoped headlight. Now step 2 is to add the Glitchify effect. And like before, we're going to turn off the image glitch and the color glitch and open up channel glitch. And then we want to open up the channel scale because we're going to now check vertical. And you can see that if we change the offset, the pixels around the headlight actually start to move. But that's not all. If we increase the scale of it, yeah, boy. But before you get excited, just make sure to turn the speed multiplier to 0. And the best part is that once you play your video, in this case, I did a parallax of the headlight, it looks so cool. Which brings me on to step 3, which is to animate. You can basically keyframe the Glitchify amount to go from 0 to whatever number you want so that this value goes up. And actually doing it from this parameter saves you having to keyframe the other smaller parameters. You can if you want to, it just takes a lot more time. And at the end, I just added some speed ramps and keyframe the scale. Now we can take this same concept and apply it to this car shot here with the idea of having the whole car ghost outwards. But unlike before, I'm not just masking out the car, I'm masking out the foreground too. So we're gonna do something like this.
Many hours later.
All right, so now when we enable the mask, you see that we've masked out the car. Call this background and this foreground. And then what we do is we actually duplicate this and we name it glitch. Put this in the middle. So now what we want to do is we're going to add the effect. We're going to turn off the image glitch here, the color glitch here, and leave the channel glitch on and expand these 2 here. If I turn off the foreground layer and the background layer, leaving only this layer, tick where it says vertical. Now you'll see that if we actually increase the scale, things are affected in the vertical plane. And remember, we want to kind of ghost this car out. We lower the offset value to 0, which you can see splits out the car from the center. And then if you want to, we can increase the scale of it a little bit so it comes out a little bit more. Bearing in mind that the more you increase the scale, the more it kind of just disrupts into nothingness. You don't need to increase it too much, just a little bit. You want to keep the shape of the car. To avoid this kind of glitchy look when you press play, you just make the speed multiplier 0. Now, one last thing that you might want to do is increase the Glitchify amount, which will bring it up a little bit further. So once you have your desired look complete, you can pretty much now enable all the layers. So the one thing that you want to do is obviously transition into this effect. You can't just have it appear. And the way you do that is by adding a keyframe at the glitch amount, then moving a few frames back, making the 0, for example, like this. You can, if you want to as well, add a position keyframe and increase the position for it to go higher up like this. And if you have too much of the foreground, you can just go to glitch, completion, increase that like that, and now you're left with just the car. And that's because the completion parameter keys out anything that's dark. But yeah, other things that you can add to this effect are a glow. So you can, for example, add some kind of glow, but you can basically keyframe the glow to go from 0 up to 1. That could look pretty cool. If you want it to end in a nice cool way, you can have it, once it goes up, you can keyframe the completion from what it was and increase it such that it just disappears like this. So it will go up and then disappear. So now that you're very excited about using this plugin, you may want to know how to do other things with it. Well, lucky for you, I made a video on how to make this really cool glitched background effect using this same plugin. So be sure to check that video out. If you want this exact project files to practice with, you can check the link in the description below, but you do have to have the plugin in the first place. And with that being said, nos vemos en el próximo video.